What up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday thing. This thing that we do every Thursday, at least we try really hard to. Um, we've had some interesting we've had an interesting week, and we've got a really interesting show today. We've got a pretty cool guest, and we're going to talk about something kind of different today. This one will be fun. But as usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, Warranty. Warranty, how you doing?
Dewey, I hung out with you all weekend, and now I have COVID. Coincidence?
Yes.
I think not.
I don't doubt that. I don't know if I brought COVID to you,
Somebody
but there's a good chance we all have COVID now because we're also hanging out with producer Jordan, who's in the who does all our background stuff. Producer Jordan came up to the event, and we'll talk about that here real quick.
Long drive for both of you, actually.
Hell of a long drive, yeah. So, and also in making our thumbnails and who helped set today's interview up is Randy, who has been helping us quite a bit in the background too. So, hats off to these guys. Real quick, if you are listening to this either in the Discord live, do us a favor, share it. Let's get more people in here. Let's have a good time. And or if you are listening to this as a podcast, which a lot of you will be, do us a favor, please share this. Maybe leave us a comment. It helps us a ton to grow this, and the more we grow it, the more cool stuff we get to do. So, Terry, you got me on speaker, my guy.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, is there a way you can turn me down?
Turn volume down?
Yeah, I'm bleeding over in your mic.
How about that?
I don't know. Sounds better. Yeah, we'll work.
Yeah,
with that.
that'll work.
Good. Thanks, buddy.
Any lower, I can't hear you.
So, either way, we'll get to Terry here in a hot second. So Warranty, you and I went up to Flatfest in Wisconsin this weekend, up near Madison, Wisconsin.
We sure
they
did.
had me up there as the guest of honor. That was a good time. We did something that kind of sounded like a podcast, and I'm sure we'll upload at some point, maybe like a bonus episode or something, of us really just walking around and talking about cars. I kind of want to listen to that first to see how that turned out, because I'm not sure if the content was great or not. We also had a mic on me when we were doing some autocross. We did some autocross in your BRZ, and I knocked both you and producer Jordan's dicks off. I got to take Kurt Rios's ridiculously fast, newly put together GC. I went and did what they call the street drags, which is like a 300-foot drag racing thing, and had a good time with that. Unfortunately, Kurt's got maybe the most worn out 04 STI trans in the history of the planet. So there was no hitting third, but it was fun.
Yep. And the guy that ended up winning had a WRX with a 16G turbo in it, so you love to see it.
It was a WRX with a 16G turbo, and he was no joke on the launch control. And he took out a Hellcat and a LS swapped STI. So it was kind of it was those guys were like the shoo-ins to win this, and he ended up taking them out. What a Hellcat is doing inside of a Subaru event drag racing thing is beyond me, but I think next year we need to bring the heat. So I've already been talking to Chris at Six Star and some of my other buddies in that region. I think we're gonna try to bring we're gonna blow that event up. All right, shit's gonna go down. So be prepared for that. We're gonna need you to motivate Chicago. We're gonna bring all of Chi-Town Subarus up there. I literally want 500 people from just our group to show the hell up.
That's how it used to be, I feel like. This is my first time going to Flatfest, but
yeah, we're gonna roll in heavy. We motivated about that many people to go down. It was like it wasn't that many, but I think it was well over 100 motivated to go all the way to St. Louis. They can make a trip to
St. Louis for good old Scuba Palooza. Remember that?
Yeah, that was an event. So
best of times, it was the worst of times. I love that autocross course though. I still remember it.
It was fun. So I know there's a big event coming up next week called Boxer Fest. Boxer Fest, we're gonna be short on staff, but we're gonna do our best. Because there's also some like Bronco event going on at the same time, so we kind of had to split the staff. But we're gonna be up at Boxer Fest. That event always works out really well. I can kind of focus on it a little better than I usually can because Boogie's broke. Usually we show I come down. Usually I come down from Lime Rock Park after that event and park Boogie out there, but that just ain't happening this year. Obviously. So
Yeah, no Lime Rock this year.
Yep, no Lime Rock this year.
Boogie
What are
Nan's
you gonna
broke.
do?
That's okay.
She broke. So
Boxer Fest. That's on the
Boxer
East
Fest.
Coast. Where exactly?
That's in York, Pennsylvania, I think is the name of the city.
Okay.
Somebody I know who's going to be there because he's already posted it up is the guy who's in our chat. Okay, so today we're going to be talking to Terry, the owner of Exo Truck, and he builds some really, really crazy stuff. So Terry, welcome to the IAG Thursday thing. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Dewey. Hey, Morty. Thanks for the invite.
No, anytime, man. I think this is going to be fun. So, so let's do a quick overview of like what I see with Exo Truck, and then I'm gonna bomb a bunch of questions at you, and we're gonna figure it out from there. Basically, what you do with Exo Truck is you build a frame to put an entire Subaru drivetrain. Looks like you're also messing with some LS stuff, but we're talking about Subarus here. Looks like the whole thing started with Subarus, but you make this really cool frame that you basically put an entire Subaru drivetrain under, and obviously it's going to significantly drop weight. And then you basically have a Hoon machine, which looks like a complete riot. From the looks of it, you can actually get these things registered on the street as a kit car. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. So, how long you been building these things, man?
I started the one I call now OG. That's the one you see. It's been spray painted 5 different colors. I built it in 2017.
So what convinced you?
What's that?
Do this? What convinced you to go? Screw it! I'm building a whole tube frame for my Subaru.
I don't remember the exact tipping point. I might have been persuaded. I've been I'm on this Discord. I'm also on the old RS25 chat box Discord. And
Sure.
Some of them guys can be a little, persuasive and things. But I had an old built Forester and a 400-some wheel horsepower Forester, and it just got to the point where it was getting so rusted. I was afraid it was going to fold in half. So I saw some. I think there's a time when like Leroy was coming out, and there's some other tubes, and I figured, I work at a steel fabricator. I'll give it a go. So I brought some tubing home and just started connecting the dots, using the stock cross members, the whole drivetrain. The only thing I really don't use is the stock suspension because obviously it sits too low. I use a mixed bag of coilovers for that. But I don't know. I never planned on making any more of them. But the popularity of it has just kind of surprised me. It's maybe I had a way to make it look better than some of the other ones. I don't know why it took off. It's my personality.
I gotta be
or
real.
Something.
Like that was about the same time that I started seeing like exo sets and stuff, which are Miata based. Like exo cars essentially. But yours just looks cool. Like yours looks cool. Yours looks like something that I would actually enjoy driving. I think it's fun to look at. And I like the concept of it being all-wheel drive. The one of the things I've always wondered about these is, do people actually use them, or do they just like take them to Cars and Coffee? But if you go to your Instagram, there's videos of you drag racing the crap out of these things. There's videos of you ripping around at pit race, the road course, and ripping it up. Like you use the shit out of these things.
Oh yeah.
So
it's practically my daily driver.
I mean, why not? It's got a Subaru drivetrain. You're not I know you've got a decent amount of weight out of it. What did you end up? Do you know what the curb weight of your of these end up coming out? Somewhere in the ballpark.
They weigh about 2,600 pounds. Yeah, you'll be. I mean, it sounds heavy, and I've weighed the frame itself as 600 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So the other 1,800 or 1,900 pounds is basically composed of the Subaru all-wheel drive drivetrain, the brakes, seats, and that wing. I mean, it's the Subaru,
Wow.
and now it has a 6-speed in it. It's another 100 pounds or so. But yeah, a lot of people are surprised when they hear how heavy it is.
I'm
That's
not.
why when I see these gutted GCs down in the 2,700 pound range, and you really start to appreciate the how much weight reduction those guys do.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, even Boogie with a cage, we're at 2,950. Like that's still like it's crazy what you got to do to get that amount of weight. Subaru drivetrains are not light, but it's what you got to do. Again, where'd my brain go? I'm having one of those days. Warranty, maybe I have COVID.
Oh, don't worry, I got you. Despite COVID, I will keep this on track. So
nice.
2,600 pounds. Yeah, that's not light.
The tubing. I mean, I could make the chassis a little lighter. I use 120 wall tubing. These things are meant to be street driven, so they're kind of safety first.
Which is the way it should be.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second.
All the steel you see in it's high strength 16 gauge steel. It's meant to keep the engine off your feet if something would happen. Right. The front and rear are bent. The tubings are bent in a way, at least in my mind. I've never obviously crash tested one, but I come from an engineering background, so there's bends in certain objects of the cage between, like in the front and rear, that are supposed to act like crumple zones. It's you might look at it. There's not a lot of tubing, in the front or in the back. Well, that's the way I designed it. I don't want it to be.
You don't want it to be too solid. There's actually such thing.
So there's some thought put into it when it comes to how the tubes are laid out, what you want to have happen if something terrible happens.
All the cab tubings are straight, and all the ones in the front and back are bent. Even like where the bed is, you'll see like the weird tube where the top of the strut is. That's like that, so that if you're rear-ended, it's not a straight line tube right into the back of your spine. It's meant to bend away.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures in the chat. When I see these exo cars, exo trucks, it's the first thing I think of is how much safety was sacrificed to get the weight down. It looks like the answer is not much in this case.
Well, I don't have a whole lot of like side impact protection, but just keep your eyes out.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, that, and I mean, I have to be real. I could be wrong in saying this, but I am gonna. I'll go out and say, looking at this, I would feel safer driving this than I would one of those 3-wheeled things. That Polaris Slingshot or whatever.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's all plastic.
Those things are so sketchy, and this gives me a much safer vibe. Plus, I think it looks cooler.
Yeah,
but yeah, I gotta be real, guys. You never look cool in a Slingshot. You will never look cool in a Slingshot. This looks cool. You take a Slingshot to a Cars and Coffee, you're going to be that guy in a Slingshot at Cars and Coffee. You bring this to a Cars and Coffee, people are going to be like, what the hell is that? I want to talk about it.
Especially if you've got a front mount intercooler that's spray painted with the STI logo. That's pretty sick.
Yep.
Yeah, I debated that. I don't like putting STI logos on stuff that ain't STI, but once I put the 6-speed in it and the 2.5,
it's STI enough.
Or 180, it's close enough.
This exception's made, and I think this is a good exception.
So
what size tires are you running?
How many of these?
The purple one's actually more STI than all of
them.
So, how many of these have you made so far?
I'm working on my 5th one.
Okay,
the 5th one's the LS one.
Nice.
There's one down in Florida that's gray. That guy, he actually bought just a chassis and had it's a pretty well named shop down there. I think STI Mikey works there and stuff. They actually put that together for him, but it's pretty much just a stock EJ205, stock WRX drivetrain. Nothing off
Yeah.
the wall.
Nothing crazy. So honestly, I think this is a great option if somebody's looking to put something insane together that they normally wouldn't, you know? And like, let's say you have a car with all sorts of, nice modifications or whatever. You like the car, but maybe you live in a northern environment and the thing is rusted right out, just like how it was with your Forester. I think this is a very valid option for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I get an overwhelming number of people asking me how to get one and stuff like that. And I think
Sure.
that a lot of people think that it's just going to be like a $5,000 frame or something that they can
No.
Yeah.
There's
No
so much.
surprise
Unfortunately,
there.
How long does it take you to build one of those frames?
with my fixtures and things I had, I could build one of those frames in 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. That's 3 weeks of work.
Skilled labor.
You
Yeah.
know, and we haven't talked about, the tools that you need to do that, the actual materials you need to do that, like
Mhm.
and the space and everything else. And you've got fixtures and everything else too. You had to build one of these from scratch to then build that stuff.
Probably
So
took a
like
lot longer than 3 weeks the first time. Yeah.
oh, the first one I bet you took forever. How long do you even remember how long the first one took you?
Pretty much a year. But
Oh,
that was a
Yeah.
lot of
Exactly.
paycheck to paycheck, and saving up $1,000 for seats or $1,500 for coilovers, and
Yeah. So there's an investment here, time and money.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's not cheap, but you're not going to have anything else like it, So I
Right.
really think that's cool. So, if somebody were to try to like get one of these registered for street use, which you can, how hard is that? I mean, you're in Pennsylvania, if I remember correct, you're out in Pittsburgh area.
yes.
How hard is it in say Pennsylvania to get that done? I'm sure somebody like an area like California or something, you're gonna have to jump through a million hoops, but Pennsylvania is probably fairly average.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania has been pretty forgiving, mostly because they don't require any type of like smog or pollution control,
Yeah,
because they don't give it a model year, so there's nothing to test it to. And
sure.
if they don't have a standard, then they just can't do it. Pennsylvania has been quite easy, and I get that question a lot too. How do you register and stuff? And SEMA actually put together a pretty nice link on their webpage. If you just, I tell people Google this SEMA 50 state registration. It pops right up as a map. You click on your state, and all the information is there on the requirements and the procedure to register something like this in your state. In Pennsylvania, it's actually so different on so many states. Like Michigan, I heard you just drive it to like a police station and
I
inspect
can
it
tell
right
you
there.
right now, Michigan is silly easy to get something registered
Yeah.
in. You roll up with whatever, if it's got headlights of any form, with a plate, or like just you've got kind of the basic concept of a car. You roll up,
Yeah.
they'll read yep, that looks like a car to me, and then you roll into the Secretary of State and they hand you a plate. It's ridiculous.
And then in some other states, they'll even give you like a temporary, because they know you gotta like test it and stuff. They'll give you temporary registration even before they give you the title and thing. But Pennsylvania, we go to like an inspection station, like a typical place to get your car annual inspection. But these are slightly different ones. They're not as common.
Yep.
They do a more thorough inspection, stuff like the safety glass windshield, fenders. These all actually have fenders, but I've taken them all off as soon as I get the title. But then you get, they do all that, and they do the paperwork, and you go to a notary, and you show them, the parts you bought and the taxes you paid on it. You pay any undue taxes, and then that whole packet of papers goes to Harrisburg. And then you either get someone call you on the phone, or they'll call the garage, and then the garage will call you and say, hey, you need to do this, or you need to do that. That happened on the first one. I had to have like a battery cover, like the battery cable ran through the cab. They didn't like that. So like, it was minor stuff. It was little things that took another couple weeks, and then it passed. And then the last two I just did took 3 weeks, no questions asked. So it's, it just depends on your state.
Yeah.
Florida, I found out, is not so great. Texas is not so great.
I'm sure you're going to run into some that are pretty near impossible. You know what I mean? And then
Texas is
others are
up
just
there,
like,
huh?
whatever. I'm really surprised Texas was one of them that came up.
Texas used to be easy, but I guess they had so many people abusing the system with those Volkswagen, like the Manxes and stuff, just
yeah.
leaving the old
Yeah.
Volkswagen titles on.
Well, it got hard in Florida. I know exactly why it got hard in Florida. Have you ever heard of a Kaizo GTR?
No.
Okay, I'm going to assume by it got all quiet here. Okay, so what a company was doing. Now we all, if you remember a while back, and maybe I'm about to show my age, but the first company to start importing GTRs here in the United States was Motorex.
No, that you're talking about R32s now?
Okay, I've got to go through the Motorex problem here real quick and why this all turned into a problem. So they were bringing over GTRs, and the least desirable one was the R33. So what they did is they crash tested a shitload of R33s, and then they brought in R32s and R34s based on the crash exemption from the R33, and they sold a bunch of them, and then like somebody blew the whistle on it or something, and they got shut down. Okay, and this is where GTRs ended up on the radar for, of all places, Department of Homeland Security.
Crazy.
Okay, because that's what we should be spending our money on. So either way, like getting a GTR here in the States was impossible for a while due to that. Then this company in Florida decided, here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna sell you a body, and then we're gonna sell you an engine, and you can put them together, and we will call it the Kaizo GTR.
Fantastic.
And there was a bunch of those sold like that as a kit car, but it was a GTR. Okay? And this is where Department of Homeland Security kicked in Paul Walker's door. And that's why Florida is such a shit show, because it was all in Florida.
Wow.
If you ever wondered why Florida went from easy to ridiculous overnight.
I remember GTRs in gray areas, but I forgot some of the specifics of that story. That's crazy.
Yeah, that story's nuts.
The guy that bought one in Florida, he came up a couple times, drove it home. I was like, oh yeah, Florida, easy peasy, get your title and stuff. They gave him such a hard time. They kept trying to tell him it was a mud buggy, something else. He tried for months and couldn't end up getting a title for it. So he ended up just calling that lawyer guy, and he got a Montana LLC and just runs Montana plates on it now.
There you go. It's the new way.
A headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old Montana plate trick.
You could do that on side-by-side ATVs if you wanted to.
Man, they do that on anything. Montana's crazy.
There used to be other states like New Hampshire that all you had to do is pay them a registration fee, and they would send you a plate for like $300. You could put a plate on.
Montana's about all that exists now. You can basically register. All you need is some address in Montana to like say it's a part of Montana, and you don't even got to be there for it. It's ridiculous. And you can get a lifetime registration in Montana.
And the nice thing about it is once you set up a Montana LLC, you could put all your assets under that LLC.
Kids, you're learning all sorts of stuff today. This ain't just Subaru stuff now. This is
God bless
stuff.
America. All right, so in Pennsylvania, just the straight through the front door, you needed safety glass and you needed fenders. And that was about it. Oh, and pay taxes.
Yeah, lots of taxes. Unfortunately, because I was buying import, JDM kits off of eBay, basically for you go get your 6-speed, comes with dry shaft axles, Brembos, or hubs, and all that stuff for it used to be like $4,000, but since the pandemic, they're like $6,000-7,000 now.
Yeah.
So I had to pay the tax on that, and then a few other things. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, but the whole process wasn't all that bad. The only weird stuff about Pennsylvania's requirements is the laminated safety glass windshield. So the windshields on all these trucks are just like a car windshield. Just flat.
They'd have to be, and I can understand why.
There's benefits of it.
Yeah, I can understand, them trying to, trying to maybe be a little particular about certain things like that. I'm not mad about you having to have safety glass in there. You know what I mean?
No.
But
And
it's
glass
just one more
doesn't
hoop you got to
scratch
jump
so
through.
easy.
Yeah.
People like this, a lot of people are, I'll just put polycarbonate in it. It's like, did you ever put polycarbonate and then use it? It's not ideal after a few weeks.
No,
And
it gets all foggy.
Yeah, and it scratches, and it's not even UV unless you get the special UV stuff. But even that doesn't last very long. So the windshield's not bad. And then I had to put a wiper on it because I need a wiper. Okay. And the kicker is the defroster. I have to have a defroster. But, I don't got to put a heater core in there or nothing. You just get one of those plug-in electric $20 defrosters off Amazon or your local auto parts store or something.
Oh, sweet. Oh, today I learned. That's easy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's easy stuff.
Wow, that's about it. But you in Pennsylvania do have yearly inspections. We don't have that here in Illinois, and I don't know about Tennessee.
It's not too bad. I mean, it's we're not all mechanics, obviously, on the road. So it's basically there so your Uncle Joe can go make sure his tires are right.
Hey, I got to be real. I think I'm not mad about a yearly inspection or at least a bi-yearly inspection. I wish Illinois would do more than check OBD when people went in there. They maybe look to see if their tires have any tread or the car isn't falling apart. You should see Michigan. Michigan's a shit show with cars. That's
God, it's terrible.
When you let a northern state go to hell. Like the stuff that you see driving down the highway is not roadworthy. So again, here we are almost agreeing with the hoops that you had to jump through.
Some of them. I mean, nobody wants to pay taxes on their kit car, but
but again, I kind of
most of the taxes, even online and eBay and everything anymore, you pay tax right there. So as long as you show it on your receipt, you got to keep all your receipts.
That's not too bad.
I think maybe why I had to pay tax on that one was I called the importer direct and had him to skip the eBay things, but
okay. At least you're not getting. It wasn't. Be real mad about that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Man, we got tax advice. We got legal advice this episode. We're in for
this episode's hot, boy.
We are not accountants. We are not lawyers. Do not take this as advice.
But as far as the inspection goes with the emissions, since there's no model year or anything they assign it to, it's emissions exempt. I joke around with people and I say, I could pull the motor out of this and put a two-stroke, outboard.
Stratton,
yeah. I could put a two-stroke racing motor in this thing and it'd still be perfectly legal.
Nice. Do you
there's no emissions? It's just the annual safety inspection. And
do you typically put Subaru cats in it, or no? Just go run catless.
No cats.
Okay.
Well,
so
he could run either way. Let's say you wanted to put this thing together, and let's say you wanted to tune it, using a Cobb, because you're using stock ECU and everything, right?
Yeah, the green one has an access port. It's just not hooked up at the moment because green speed happened right when I was putting it together.
You could put this together in a way that would be green speed compliant.
Sure.
I mean, I get it.
You could, yeah. You'd have some extra. You'd have to put the charcoal box and the EVAP and the PCV stuff and things in there. But it's not impossible.
You're using the OEM gas tank and everything too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It wouldn't be too hard to set up. I mean, you'd have to do a little dance, make a little love, but I don't think it'd be that bad.
I'm a nerd. I would think that'd be pretty cool, but not as a requirement,
You're a big nerd.
I mean, I run ethanol in them. That's my contribution to the green speed.
There you go.
And then I was teasing my neighbor the other day. I was putting solar panels on my roof, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to offset my carbon footprint here."
He's doing his part.
The VINs, they do all get their own VIN numbers.
Let's how long have you been messing with Subarus in general?
About 16 years. That's a funny story about that is I used to be a Mopar guy.
Yeah.
And then about 16 years ago, I got myself in a spot of trouble and had my car impounded.
That'll happen.
So I figured, I'll teach them. I'll just go buy another car. So I went down. I had to walk down to the car dealership to bottom of my hill, and the only thing they really had in my price range was a 1996 Subaru Legacy Outback.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go. Not a
I don't know.
Mopar.
I was like 22 years old or something. I didn't even know what a Subaru Outback was. So I bought this thing, drove it around. Sure enough, it started overheating and things, and then so I go to check the thermostat. There's no thermostat in it. Basically, did you ever see like Matilda? Danny DeVito, he
Yes.
has those that car lot with the sawdust.
Yeah,
Well, I was kind of
that's where you got this car.
That's where I got my Outback. Yeah,
Okay.
it had bad head gaskets, and that's how I learned about Subarus and head gaskets and the whole stereotype and everything else. So
Yep.
naturally, I swapped an EJ22 into it.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
then I love that car. That car with an EJ22 is probably the best car I've ever had out of probably 20 vehicles I've owned.
That's a unit.
I drove it for a long time.
Never let you down.
No, I drove that a long time, and then I ended up with an RS 2.5 RS Bug Eye.
Okay.
Great.
Then I had the Forester, and then I just started building them after that. And then when I had that Legacy, my whole family got into Subarus after that, especially because Snowmageddon happened like that same year.
Oh, yeah. The big snowstorm on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well,
I bought that.
We ended up. I think that was the same snowstorm that we got that rolled through
2010.
that shut down Lakeshore.
Dewey dropped out for a second, but yeah, the Lakeshore Drive, we had a really bad snowstorm. It was probably the same year. Shut down all of Chicago.
2010, we got 28 inches of snow, and I was the only one out on the roads. I found out later it's because we had like a state of emergency or wasn't allowed to be on the roads. But
Subaru don't care. Yeah.
But I was out there driving up the interstate, bouncing back and forth because the road was just basically like one of those like when the Olympics go down the luge.
Yeah, man. When I had my STI, the only thing slowing me down in the winter was other cars. It doesn't matter how much snow was on the ground. That thing was just a rocket ship. You put snow tires on it. I felt like a race car driver. I felt like a rally car driver, really. I wasn't about to go break the law. But, man, so good. I'd believe that even from an old Legacy Outback. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah, we started...
I'm just doing a check here. Can you guys hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, you're back.
Now you're back.
All right. What? I don't even know what happened because nothing changed. But okay. Yeah, but I bet you that was the same year that we got ours, and that was like 2008, 2009, something like that. 10. Yeah, I think it was the same time. Yeah,
that sounds about right. It was 21.
Sounds about right.
21 years old.
Yeah. So after
that been the year that the
snowstorm,
Rooster died. That same snow was the year my 02 WRX died. I think it was the same snowstorm.
Yeah, we got that snow. I had to come pull my sister had a Jeep at the time. Now she's had cross-treks ever since then.
I was gonna say, what happened to you that you switched from a Mopar to just a shitty, old? Let's call it what it is, an old, just shitty Subaru, and that's the answer.
Hey, you watch your mouth. What happened with Snowmageddon?
Snowmageddon.
Yeah, basically.
There you go. Right place, right time.
I got my Mopar impounded, and then that following winter Snowmageddon happened. I've just been Subaru since then.
The rest, as they say, is history. So
that'll do it, bud.
I got more questions about this Exo truck that we can go back and forth and everything. But what size tires are you running?
I've been putting 265, 35, 18s on them. It doesn't need all that tire, but it's kind of there for the look.
It does look good.
Yeah, sure does.
Honestly, it ain't like you got to worry about fender clearance.
Right.
When you go rowdy?
Exactly.
They look a little better. The 240. Although when I had 245s, they would spin them all in third gear. And I haven't really had that trouble since going to the 265s.
That's terrifying and also awesome.
Yes.
So do you have a formula for like what you like to put in it? 6-speed transmission? What do you do for an engine package typically?
Yeah.
The first one, back when it was white, and you see some of those like the pit race videos, that was actually the stock EJ206 right off of eBay. I ran 26 pounds on that thing for a couple years on a 5-speed. Well, I should say several 5-speeds. And then
The truth comes out immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the
And then
reality of it.
And then about 2020, when everything hit the fan, I got into a little more money. So I splurged on the IAG block and a 6-speed and a twin plate clutch and things. And I've had that same setup since 2020 now. It's been solid.
Which
The X
IAG
clutch
block
I
did you
have in
go
it,
for?
It was the stage. You call it the stage 2.5 at the time. I think you call it a 750 now.
Yep.
Okay.
That's like I want to put on a long-term review on the website the other day, but since it changed names, it said I never bought one. It wouldn't let me leave a review.
You know, we
But,
need to work. That is a really good point. That's a really good point. I'm actually going to bring that up. It felt like that's a great point. Thank you.
but
So
it's
the IAG block, and sorry, tell me the rest of the setup.
what is it? Because it was originally it started off the Forester that had a WRX ECU swap and a the 205. So it still has the 5. My original one still has the 5x100 hubs. So it has regular Impreza front axles, which have held up shockingly well. In the rear, there are the hybrid axles from those guys over in Insane Shafts. I broke a couple of them, but I think it was related to a center diff issue because they broke under no load, just going down the highway. And I think they were just overheating from binding.
Okay, yeah.
And then the transmissions, because like I said before, I'm a real simple person. I'm real partial to the Legacy Spec B 6-speeds. I love that ratio in them.
They're a little
Long
longer.
ratios.
I could actually see where that would work out. Like,
And
yeah, I got to be real. I holler at this at everybody who comes in. Next time you get one of your crazy customers who wants to like get really rowdy with this thing, I would love to see one of our D-stroke 2.3s in a short ratio trans. That basically the same thing I put in Boogie in one of these. It'd be nuts. 9,300 RPM would sound insane in this thing.
oh yeah, I mean mine's been the 2.5, the IAG 2.5 since 2020.
Yep.
And I mean it's torquey. I like it. It's down low. It's torquey. It's got the hybrid. It's got EJ 206 heads on it. I got yours, the ones with the hybrid pistons in it.
Yeah.
It's got some cams.
I bet you that feels good. You're running around on ethanol, right?
It's when I can put ethanol in it. Yeah, it's flex fuel. When I went out to
what are you
on
using
road trips
for engine management on yours now? Are you using still using
still a 02 WRX ECU with the Carberry ROM?
Yep.
Carberry.
Carberry,
Classic.
baby.
It's been good to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of these
JR was because the purple truck has the same setup basically. Besides the engine, it has got a 2-liter in it.
Yeah.
But we both run the WRX ECUs with the Carberry. And JR, he was giving me a pretty hard time about it. He's like, you spent all this money and you put this Carberry ECU in there. It's junk. I was like, John, it's fine.
It does the job, but there's definitely better. I would love to
the
see
safety.
like a proper ground up build on one of these things. Like
He was Carberry. He was selling me on the safety, because I don't have no like fuel pressure cutoffs or anything like that. Basically, I got boost protection and that's about it. But when things start,
I too like to live dangerously.
yeah,
Sure do.
yeah, it's an option. But it's not in my price range. That's all.
Who typically tunes your cars?
I've tuned my own. I
Damn,
do all the
alright.
bass tunes. I do all the bass tunes on them, and the watt stuff. We'll go to the dyno for that, just to get mean best torque.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sick.
I mean, I've found out. I've learned through 2 or 3 of them now that they're not as knock limited as people think. I've definitely put what I thought was safe tunes on them, not gotten any knock, and then go to the dyno to find out, it's 5 degrees past where it was making peak torque. So basically, I'm just putting. It's not knocking, but I'm putting undue stress on the rods for no reason.
Right.
So it's
Smart. Speaking my language, man.
yeah.
So Aaron
I mean,
Rankin's in the chat, and he's got an interesting question. And I kind of am interested to know this too. Is your engine bay essentially the same size as the, like your typical let's say 02 to 07 WRX or something? Reason I'm asking that is he's asking about sticking an EG33 or like an EZ30 or 36 in there, so an H6. Do you think there'd be the room for that?
A 33, no. I mean,
No?
the radiator, a 30 possibly, because I believe they are about the same depth as the EJs.
They're
But where the
close,
radiator
but
sits,
they're a little further forward.
the 30s, the EZs.
Yeah, the EZs and the EGs are a little. It's just due to the extra.
I knew the
cylinder
EG
there.
was like a lot further forward.
It's not much. They're about the same.
But the
I'd be real
radiator,
interested to know.
I use the stock radiator fans. I use a stock radiator. Well, I use an upgraded radiator, but the same dimensions and same, like a bolt-in aftermarket radiator.
Sure.
And then the stock hoses. So if you didn't have to move the radiator, then yeah, it would fit. But there's no, to make the front end as short as possible, even though it still sticks out a bit. The radiator can't go any further forward. You'd have
It'd
to
be
put the
close.
radiator in the back. You'd have to put the radiator in the back. That's all.
Oh, that wouldn't
Or
even be
get a
that
smaller
bad.
one.
I got to be
Or
real.
get a
If you had
shorter
some
one.
really good fans, you could totally put that in the back and probably have room for days. Basically, if there's a will, there's a way. It ain't like this is stamped steel, right?
No. Well, moving forward, I don't know if anyone. I entered the contest. Some of you might have saw that for SEMA. It's through Ineos. And
I think I did remember this.
if I end up winning that, I'm probably going to start pursuing a lot more towards. I got quotes from Cage Kits to start because I have a 3D drawing sketch of this chassis, and
Okay.
they've quoted it for me, and I have numbers, and then I have a target number for Group buy 5 chassis that I can get a pretty good deal on them. And then I got a buddy of mine just started a welding school. He's gonna weld them for me. So depending on what happens in the next month here, if I find out I'm going to SEMA or not, I'm probably going to start mass producing these chassis again.
So then it's going to move more to like a scale concept, and with that, prices will come down, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just going to be GD for now.
Yeah.
So any GD platform would bolt up to it.
Which, I mean, I don't think you'd have to go too far from that no matter what. I think there's probably... Right. I could see maybe messing around with a multi-link rear on that a little bit, but I don't think it would be too crazy to make that work. But I don't know if it's really worth it for especially what you're doing with the vehicle and keeping it simple. I think you're probably better off just sticking with GD stuff, to be honest.
The problem with the GD stuff is the one the green one's a GR. It's actually got a GR setup in it.
Wow.
In the back, and I like the GR setup a lot. The only problem with it is because that rear setup takes up so much room. I had to use a 2016 2.0i fuel tank, so you only get like 10 gallons.
Yeah.
So that one,
there are sacrifices.
When I drive that one, it's a lot more frequent fuel stops. But being on the GD ones, the thing sits so low. The only problem with the geometry that I would like to address somehow is how close the axles are actually sitting to the cross members. So there's not much room for suspension compression. Not that it has any.
Where there is a will,
there's
a way. That's one of those things. Like if you can get the cost of the actual chassis down, and maybe you could have a conversation with somebody like WiseFab, or learn to make your own.
I would love some WiseFab knuckles. WiseFab knuckles would be nice.
I run those on my car, and it changed geometry. I could put my car basically on the ground and still have decent roll center. It's not.
Yeah, I've started. Mine's been kind of the original OG trial and error truck. That purple one has to date all the incorporations that I've made to mine in it, such as like the front tire clearance to the tube. Mine rubs a little bit, his doesn't. The rear axle clearance has been addressed. I mounted the cross member up a little bit higher, closer to where it would be factory, and just little stuff like that. And then we started getting into the tie rod, the drop kits on the tie rods, which has really helped with bump steer. Like we've eliminated all the bump steer. So the chassis and all those have been incorporated into the model that is I'm supposed to be setting up for this group buy.
Yeah. I mean, that's sick. If there's anything we can help with this with a group buy, or if there's like some place we need people to vote or whatever, at the end of the show, I always tell you to plug it. Make sure you get me links and stuff too, and I'll post it up so we can see if we can help you out. Yeah, because I like once again, like it isn't that these are like freakishly expensive. They're really not. But like if they were to come down in price, like their value would go nuts. Like I think they're a really cool novelty right now, but if you could get the value down on this, or the cost down on this, the value would be incredible. Like you could have a whole lot of fun for not a whole lot of money. And there are other companies out there, I'm not going to mention any names, that also have like kit Subarus that tend to like put the engine in the back and stuff like that. And I've driven a few of them and they're junk.
Chassis are made of noodles.
The guy, one of the customers had one of those, and he said he couldn't even drive. He couldn't get no traction. He sold it to fund the Exo truck.
The chassis, like essentially, and I'm not an engineer by any means, okay, but what it feels like is there needs to be a crossbar right where the driver is sitting, and they can't do that. Like, so I've never driven a vehicle that, and I've driven 3 of them now, and all of them feel the same way. One of them even had the hard top, but they feel so drastically disconnected from the front wheels to the rear wheels. Like it literally feels like the chassis is a slinky in the middle. Like it is unreal. It is the most weird feeling thing. And
That's
they
pretty
sell
scary.
this as like a track car, and like
they're made of light gauge, and they're made from light gauge square tubing so that they can get to that weight point. It's
how much
the
weight
tubing,
are you adding?
I actually have tubings. I run the full width tubing on the top and bottom on mine so that there's no twisting at all. The transmission actually sits on inside of like the frame.
Yeah.
And then the drive shaft and exhaust goes through another square.
Do you have an estimate on how much weight you're adding by using better tubing?
I bet you 300 pounds at least.
Well, probably 200, yeah. If it's 600 and I went down, because
I think that's fair because you kept all-wheel drive and you kept the drive shaft and you kept all of that. Yes. So if you actually look at it that way, he's right. I bet you it's probably only like 150 to maybe 200 pounds.
I would basically only be able to, if I wanted to make a lightweight version, I'd go to 095 tubing and probably 18 gauge steel, and then I won't even feel comfortable doing that.
No, and that's just it. Like at a certain point, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at 70s Formula One. A lot of people died.
Yeah.
With that mindset, like.
I'm selling these things to guys with families and stuff, then they're meant to be street driven.
Yep.
Yeah, if you can't sleep at night,
even the anchors into the. I'm using 1/2-inch anchors for the seatbelts and welded fully through the frames. The seatbelts are all the 3-inch high strength FIA seatbelts. The seats are SFI spec seats.
Nice. Yeah, so you've got a conscience and you want to build it right.
Yeah.
So as you make more of these frames, more of these chassis, do you think Pennsylvania's ever going to start giving you a hard time?
They've been giving me less of a hard of a time, actually. I think I was joking with somebody the other day. I think they recognize me as a vehicle manufacturer now. because they're using whatever weird number I come up with as the new VIN number. When I did mine, they gave me a state issued VIN number and a tag to put on it. But now I'm working with Josh over in New Jersey, Render Tech. You'll see on my thing every once in a while. He billet machines me basically anything I can draw up. He makes me these nice number tags that I rivet on there with the VIN numbers so that I could keep track of which one's which. And then the state issues me the titles with that same number as the VIN number.
Sick. Like,
Sweet.
That's really awesome to hear, actually. I just wonder if at a certain point, like, now that you are a manufacturer, well, then again, I don't remember what the actual number 400? Is. Yeah, let's be real. I don't think you're going to be doing 400 a year or whatever it is. Because a lot of these, like, exotic manufacturers get away with not having to deal with all that bullshit, too.
Right.
Yeah, there's just a certain number of vehicles you got to stay under.
Yeah.
You get a lot done with 400 per year, especially. That's a lot higher.
Load.
More than one a day. I want to go.
Yeah, you would have to scale insanely to do that. So.
Right.
Yeah,
I was thinking 25, 100 lifetime. Yeah, 400 per year is a different story.
Yeah. So, just a quick update. The Serbia USA game at the Olympics just ended, and somehow Team USA managed to pull it out.
Oh my gosh.
They were sweating hard, and they did the amazing job of sending one proper NBA player and a bunch of high school students home. So
they turned on the Team USA magic.
It was more like, okay, I guess we got to play now.
Okay.
So dumb.
Wild.
Okay, that's all I got. Man, these things are sick. If somebody were to try to contact you and say, yo, I want to get one of these, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Terry?
Instagram. But I'm gonna warn the people, I get 10 of those a day. None of them are ever serious, so I'm sorry if I don't take the request seriously. I mean, the people that have them now have literally had to, like, kick my door down and give me a bag of cash to get one.
Wow. Yeah.
I got a little disgruntled because I did invest a lot of money back in 2020. I rented a shop and I bought a bunch of equipment because, these things have been popular for a little while.
Sure.
And I sold one. So since then, I've been a lot more cautious about, taking stuff seriously and putting any money into development. So, but I am trying to get back into it, especially if I can get these things laser cut and tubed, and I don't got to put a whole lot of investment into equipment and stuff to do them.
Yeah, so I mean, the popularity is there. So I think what probably happens is people see the price point, and like I see on your website. So if you go to exotruckllc.godaddysite.com, but either way, if you go look up Exo Truck LLC, it's probably going to come right up. You have some pricing on there, and the all-wheel drive Subaru one is starting at $65K, but I'm assuming
that's turnkey.
That's turnkey. That's not bad, considering what you're getting. But I'm sure they hear that and they shit their pants.
Yeah, I mean that's what
But I think they think they're going to hit you up, and you can't even get a good cage into your race car for anything under 10. You know what I mean? And that's only one section of this, not an entire chassis.
Right.
Yeah.
So
a lot of times, I get a lot of people that contact me like budgets, and I usually just tell people about $100 a horsepower.
That's probably not terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the purple one is pushing 680 to the wheels.
Yep.
Mine's 600 to the wheels.
That's terrifying because I'm thinking of that in like a 3,500 pound car. Yeah. Now doing a 2,600 pound car. Oh my gosh, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. I've gotten used to it, and I've grown with it. I'm on my fourth built Subaru motor, not in it, but growing up, and I'm sure Dewey would agree and stuff. You start to get used to that power. And honestly, I think I'm ready for like 750 wheel. I think I'd be happy with that. But it's just when you go there,
you know who to call.
when you get to that level, it's like everything needs upgraded. Like the 6 speeds is probably no longer good for that. I probably got enough clutch for it, but nothing else is going to hold up. And then I'd probably have to get one of those fancy Motex or something. So I'm just trying to be happy with what I got, even though it's a struggle.
Oh, that's every Subaru. So
Yeah,
we're here for it.
I'm gonna scream this, man. You're out in Pittsburgh. Pit race is right around the corner. October is the Grid Life Pit Race event. Like, I think you should come out and hang. I think you'd have a really good time, and I think you're gonna catch the vibe of the right people there.
Yeah, I would love to see someone that actually could drive with my truck around that track.
Brother, come on out. It is a rumor that I maybe know how to wheel a Subaru, so I would love to give a review on this.
Yep, and he's a nut job. He will jump in your car, sight unseen, and go, "Yep, I can wheel this thing."
I got money shifted.
Oh, that's only happened once.
That's only Well, yeah.
We actually the new high power, the purple truck. It's been kind of taking over as R&D vehicle because it is pushing 700 wheel now.
Yeah,
and we're starting to find some new weak links.
Your ECU's been a weak link for a long time. You just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's holding in there, but the front diff in the 6 speeds, the open diffs, that's a weak link. Front axles are becoming
the open diff is definitely a weak link if you like those spec B 6 speeds.
Broke one of those. Broke a lifter bucket actually, sitting on the 2-step too long, but that was user error.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Those are big problems.
Not a shim over, but like an actual solid lifter bucket. Broke one of those.
I'm just saying those are some in the industry we call those fuckboy problems.
Yeah.
I'm hanging 2-step and broke my shit. Yeah, no shit.
broke a rear diff mount, DR180 mount. So we're learning.
Yep.
I used to make those diff mounts out of 7 gauge. Now I got to make them out of 1/4-inch steel plate.
I don't know anything about welding and steel, but I am not surprised.
Well, but the factory one's made of like 12 gauge, which is like 0.90. So I'm going to 250. So over twice as thick.
Damn. Is there anything that you want to do in the future that you haven't done yet? Like, what's on the horizon for you, other than more chassis?
I would like to get the group bias set up so that the GD ones are kind of on an autopilot. Because I'd like to develop the LS one again. And honestly, it'll be slower than the GD ones because there won't be any traction there. But I'd like to just call it like a cruiser. Like one I can hop in and just cruise. Maybe do some burnouts.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been contemplating welding. I got another center diff for my 6-speed. I've been contemplating welding it up and just sticking some stub axles in the front.
I mean, that's how you make a drift. Oh my god, that's what you
that
need
would
to do.
be
You need
sick.
to make a drift slut with one of these things.
Yeah.
And you need to go do some Grid Life like festival events. Drift. Oh my god, people lose their shit with this thing.
Oh yeah.
We build a sick ass angle kit for the front.
Yep.
I built the rear brake line. Actually I put it in a way that I can, within like an hour, probably hook up a handbrake, like a hydraulic handbrake.
I don't even know. Like, look, I'm not about the drift life, but this car that you build here, it's about an experience. Okay, that's really what you're building here is an experience. Whether it's you take it to Cars and Coffee and it's a good time, or you rip it around on a track or whatever, it's an experience is what you're trying to sell. And drifting is all about that. And I'm telling you, if you need to do that, like I don't even know why we're talking about this right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the experience, the people I've met just from building this thing, has been like the craziest part of the whole build.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it fun, man. That's what makes it fun.
The best drift car I ever saw was a yellow Forester from I think Can Jam up in Canada. So if you painted an Exo truck yellow, that would be sick.
Nah, dude, that bright green's perfect for it. We let him and Dylan go to town on figuring out an angle kit and everything else. Dylan has some experience in drifting. I'm telling you, I bet you, Dylan, you and Dylan could probably cook up something nasty with this, and that would be a riot, especially if we, really put a nasty engine in. Yeah, why are we not doing this? Why am I getting this excited about a drift slot? Let's do this.
Has to be a Subaru motor. Has to be.
Yeah, we need.
Gotta hear that brap.
The control arm's got to get significantly longer to get it to turn, because the tubes for the front cross member are right there with the cross member. So
but you can make arms.
Yeah.
Like, you're that guy. Make some badass arms. Well, we can come up with some terrible idea for an angle kit. Oh my God, dude. If you started selling these things, you wouldn't be able to keep them on the shelves like that.
Yep.
That's a great. If you had a
really great idea,
that would, dude, you would. I don't know how you. I don't know what you couldn't keep them on the shelves. They'd be gone.
Could you make this modular? A lot of the modern drift cars have like the modular rear metal bumper, so when something breaks, they just bolt a new one on.
Why not?
You do that so that way?
There's nothing back there.
Yeah, there really isn't anything back there. Maybe for the drift slot, he may want to think about that, but I don't think it would be hard for him to make something really simple and bolt on.
I would probably look into getting some sort of cover for the front of the tire, because molten rubber all over your arm probably wouldn't be great. But
no, that shit's cool.
But like the metal tube, the way it's curved back there, I mean, you can spark that thing right along the Jersey barriers and not have to replace nothing.
Okay, yeah. There you go. That's the answer. I'm just thinking out loud. Could you make like a halfway cheap Exo drift truck? Get the drifters to buy that over like an old 240 that's got 1 million owners, and you don't really need to cram into that, do you?
Well, I mean, if he's selling these things turnkey as is, I mean, he could seriously sell a drift setup the same way.
Right.
It'd be a little more because he, angle kit, and he's gonna have to weld the diff and all that. Oh my God, dude, why are you not doing this? What are we talking about here, Terry?
Well, that's kind of what the LS one's for.
I got you, dude. No, I think it's. I think you need to have a really. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to take anything away from an LS. Okay. Especially for like pro drifting and stuff, an LS makes sense.
Sure.
But it needs an engine that sounds interesting, and the LS is boring at this point.
That's true.
Well, it's gonna have 2 turbos on. It's still gonna sound a little.
Oh, it ain't gonna sound bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's. You know what I'd like to see?
I got a guy here, George.
This is the most not Subaru thing I'm ever gonna say.
Here we go.
What I think would sound phenomenal in this is either a Volkswagen VR6 or one of those Volkswagen inline 5s in the front and make it rear-wheel drive.
Oh my God, you're not wrong.
Volvo inline 5. I got a buddy up here with a 3 rotary, so I can put in one.
I mean, you could do that too, and that would sound great, but then it's a rotary. But those inline 5s, you can find out at junkyards for $800, and they'll make 500 wheel when you throw a boost at them. And oh my dude, that would sound like a Group B rally car.
A Volvo
it's
motor
basically
would be
a
sick.
shit Jetta motor. It's a 2.5 liter inline 5.
I got one in my garage.
Dylan's all mad. Stop. LS7. I need the LS Corvette. Blah, blah. Get on my lane, liberal.
God bless. Yeah, get out of my lane, liberal. Yeah.
One of my garages, it's an L33. It's like an LS1.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually like an LS.
I'm not saying it's the wrong answer. I'm just saying it's been done. And if we're trying to build an experience, I'm just saying.
I got 2 4G63s down there.
Oh, boo. Those things sound like shit, too. You're never going to... At no point is a 4G63 ever going to sound good. You same thing with, Ecotechs and, hell, even Subaru FAs. I said it. They just don't sound great.
Oh, gosh. They sound terrible. Sounds like a Camry motor.
Subaru's got their like EJs have even with equal length headers and everything have a particular sound to them. Like
Yes.
if you can listen to that video I posted today on my Facebook, like a tuned Subaru EJ sounds lovely. Okay, it's got its
Yes.
own particular sound to it. It's an interesting, different sound. Then I don't want to take anything
Yeah.
away from an LS. Especially Cam and LS sounds great. Okay, I'm not going to take anything away from it. But if we're building an experience, I would say I would put something interesting in it, but it still needs to be cheap and easily replaceable.
I like the Volvo idea, but I've got one of those, and
No. Volvos are
looking at them cylinder wires. They don't look like they take much boost.
No. You're looking at the wrong. I'm talking a Volkswagen. Somebody get this damn part number or this engine code for me. But it is the Volkswagen Inline 5. They also use it in the Audi RS3, a variation of it.
And I get one of those old iron block Volvo.
Yeah, these things are tanks. So 07K, if you ever get a chance, he's right. It is an 07K. Look into that because they're dirt cheap. Guys are sticking them in 944s all the time now. That's like
Porsches.
Their big thing. Yes.
Oh my god. Wow.
They sound glorious, especially with boost.
I got a V7 6MT needs rebuilt. I think it's got a bad 5th gear synchro and a possible busted front diff.
I know a guy
He's
for
the
that.
guy. He's over by you too.
Right too. No, he ain't.
What? I thought he was on the East Coast.
No, Johnny Trans's West Coast is F.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. My mistake.
Yeah.
BR5.
Yeah, he's out there doing Bader things.
Oh, that's right.
Bader.
Oh yeah, he's Bader's trans guy.
He's Bader's trans guy.
So or I should say Bader is Johnny Trans's engine guy.
Yes, that's what it is. That's right. Hey yo. Well, this was fun.
Great time.
Yeah, I had a good time with this. I don't know. If we got any other questions, send them now.
Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Where's the drift expert for the drift truck?
That would be Dylan. Dylan at IAG in the chat.
You have to sweet talk him with the LS. Like,
I gotta be real. You absolutely have to come out to pit race for Grid Life, even if it's you just come out and hang out with a car in the pits with us, okay?
Yeah.
And I'll find a way to get that damn thing on track. And Dylan and I will go beat the snot out of it in HPD. And it'll be a riot.
I think I'm past my IAG warranty, though.
I don't
Definitely past 2 years, 24,000 miles.
Hey, it's up to you, buddy.
And its defense, though, it still rocks the exact same oil pressures when I put it in.
There you go. Perfect.
I got probably 30,000 miles in that motor now.
Yeah,
it's not nice miles either. Let's be real. You don't pull it out to go be nice to
No.
Right. It's not going to explode. It's like it's going to slowly wear down probably, but not in 24,000 miles.
I'm starting to maybe notice a little bit of a dip when I load it up going like up a hill in 6th gear. Mm-hmm. It'll drop maybe 2 or 3 PSI. But,
6th gear? Are you loading it in 6th gear? You know, what RPM?
I'm not really loading it, but just cruising up the highway, like at 78, 80. I usually cruise around 78.
I don't know how many times you've been around that area warranty, but it is mountainy. Like, you can't even call it hilly. It's
no, you're right. I mean, I drove out to pit race, last year, the year before. Pretty dry.
Pit race on the flat side of yeah.
That is true.
You were on the flat side, and that's still hilly as shit.
Not wrong.
But when I took it up to I just drove it up to Wicked Big Meat.
Yeah.
I drove it there and back. I was at Cape Cod too. First I drove to Cape Cod, did some fishing, didn't catch a damn thing. And then I drove over to Stafford. And then I drove it home, like 1,300 miles in one weekend.
Good deal. So you can go to Home Depot with it.
Next weekend, correct?
That's the plan. The weather, though, was my last 10-day forecast showing rain Friday and Saturday.
Stop saying those words.
It changes, though.
So
I either got to teach my wife how to drive one. Or I got
That's a great idea.
I'm probably just going to end up trailering the green one behind my OG one.
That's even better.
That's being a boss. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. But Boxerfest is
I never got my official tow
the
rating.
18th of August, so not next week. Or not this weekend, but next weekend. Because today, as of recording,
and,
this is the 8th.
10 or 11 days now.
Yep,
10
York,
days.
Pennsylvania. So if you guys do have a chance to go out to that, definitely check it out. And then Grid Life, I got asked when Grid Life Pit Race was. That is October 11th through the 13th. Okay, it is over that weekend. And I cannot stress enough, you should be there, Terry, even if it's just to hang out.
Yeah, sounds like fun. Is it 11th to 13th? Is that a weekend?
October. Oh yeah, it'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I'll try and get up. I'll get up there.
Yeah, you get out there for Saturday or Sunday, we'll have a real good time with it. You get out there Sunday, we could probably get the damn thing on track. Especially being the end of the season, and, I'll just pull my Dewey card and we'll figure it out.
Yep, he's done that.
Yeah, I haven't been up there since I don't even know if I'm corner bounced now or not. I gotta recheck my corner bounce. But
good idea.
I made some changes since the last time I was out there to try and solve. I was having like a whole bunch of like right hand turn understeer and then no left hand turn understeer. It's the weirdest thing.
That sounds like alignment or pop shocks.
It probably isn't alignment. It's never had a real alignment. I can't get it on any alignment. It's a process to get it on an alignment rack. The purple one's been aligned. Actually, after we aligned it, it's when it started breaking shit. So we think maybe the wheels being straight or putting more power to the ground.
Probably some truth to that. All right, so if people were to get a hold of you, they'd get a hold of you through Instagram, right?
Yeah, I'm old. I can't keep track of all these different things. You just Instagram DM me. You might end up in there with all the other fan links and stuff, but I'll try to filter through them. Yeah.
At least, if anything, just follow him on Instagram. He's always got some cool stuff going on there. But yeah. So I think we're gonna call that a show. I think that was fun. I'm happy to slip by, Terry. This is fun. I'm dead serious, man. I'm dead serious. You better come out to Grid Life. All right. Then I'll talk to you next week. We're at Boxerfest either way. Okay.
Okey-dokey.
Oh, I'm getting asked Instagram ? What is his Instagram? I thought I already said it, but I guess not. Instagram is
Exo Truck.
Yeah, Exo Truck. Real simple, one word, Exo Truck.
Well, I used to think it was real simple, but then I had some people spell it just XO Truck. So now I gotta tell people it's EXO Truck, like exoskeleton, Exo Truck.
EXO Truck.
EXO Truck.
Like an exoskeleton.
Truck. Yeah, like
an exoskeleton truck.
Jeez, some people's kids.
Kids.
They spelled it out. The Common Core English or whatever it is now. XO Truck.
Common Core English. All right, buddy. Like I said, it's been real. It's been real fun. And we'll catch you next time, and I'll see you at Boxerfest. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Terry.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
All right, folks. Hope you had a good time and maybe accidentally learned something. If you could do us a solid and please subscribe. And I can't stress this enough. Share. Share the link to the podcast. Tell people about the podcast. Come on the podcast. It's the more the merrier, and the more people we have, the more guests we can have, the more fun we can have with this. We want to make this a giant happy family. So thanks, guys.